having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Tape Deck Media.
Step right up. Listen to the Awful Service Podcast. It's future radio on your computer phone. You've heard of Hannah and Barbera, Laurel and Hardy, Sears and Roebuck, now Doyle and Cocazello. Are you a bean counter at your boring job? Listen to the Awful Service Podcast. We've got segments, we've got guests, we've got Karens.
The Awful Service Podcast, available where all podcasts are streamed. Brought to you by Tape Deck Media.
Good morning, Ruddlers. Welcome back to another episode of Ruddle Me This, the 16th of June, 2025. I am, as always, your faithful host, Taylor Ruddle. Got a great episode for you today. The guest of the week is Richard Dowling. He is a comedian from Ireland by way of Wellington. We met several years ago on a show called Booze and Crack, and I've always just kind of been a big fan of Richard's work ethic and his actual onstage comedy. Now, we initially brought him on the pod to talk about, I think it was Dark Souls, the video game. But then as we got chatting, we started talking about comedy, and then I remembered he had actually taken a bit of a mental health break from stand-up last year sometime. Which is a very admirable thing, as I think a lot of comics should be doing this themselves. So we kind of got into the talk of mental health and stand-up comedy, and ended up having a really nice conversation with Richard. So before we get into the interview, some quick plugs to get out of the way. As always, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, quiz night. You've heard me say these a million times. Love to see you along for those. Thursday night, the Laugh Cellar comedy show at the Austin Club. $10 entry, 7 o'clock, always a fun time. We've been getting some good wee crowds in there in the last sort of couple of weeks, so very, very fun wee show. We are also running Yeah Nah Comedy at the Good Times Comedy Club. That is at 6:30 every Saturday for the next 6 or 7 weeks. It is basically a gong show. The comedians compete and they can be voted off by the audience. They've got little paddles on the desks in front of them. And each show, we crown a winner, and that winner qualifies to be in the finals on the 26th of July. We add a little bit of money into the jackpot from each show. It's currently sitting at $50, but if they all sell as well as the first one sold, we are going to be looking at $200 or $300 prize for the final winner. So we'd love to see you along for that. The first one sold incredibly well. We're hoping that's a trend that continues. Just head along to Good Times' website to get the tickets for that one. And then, of course, the school holidays are starting next week from the 28th of June, and every weekend from the 28th of June till the 13th of July at 11 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I'm going to be appearing in the Christchurch Canterbury Children's Theatre production of The Three Bears and Goldilocks. It's just $10 to enter, and I believe if your children are under 3, they get in for free. So, yeah, it's at the Canterbury, the Malthouse Theatre. It's on Colombo Street here in Christchurch. 2 shows a day, and then we do a little meet and greet afterwards as well. Right, that is all of the introductory stuff. Let's just get underway with the interview. So, Ruddle Maniacs, please welcome to the show, Richard Dowling. Richard, delightful to have you on the podcast, my friend.
Yeah, it's lovely to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Probably, what was it, maybe 3 or 4 years ago when we last kind of saw each other in person? It was not long after sort of lockdowns ended, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it would have been about 4 years ago in Littleton.
That's right.
Yeah,
The Wonder Bar. Was it a booze and crack show?
it was a booze and crack show. Yeah,
Yes,
we did.
that's right. Was I on the lineup or was I just hanging out? I can't remember now.
From what I remember, we did 2 back to back.
Yes.
On fairly short notice. We were only planning on doing 1, and I think you might have come along for the first one just to watch, and then did a spot on the second one.
That sounds about right.
Maybe.
Yes. No.
Or maybe you did a spot on both.
I may have. Yeah.
Well,
time flies, doesn't it? I from that night, I have a bunch of like Irish music in my playlist. Like I remember we were singing along to Derek Doom by what is the band? Horslips or something like that? Is it the band?
The Horslips, yeah.
And then
absolutely, man.
The other one I have is the High Kings Irish Pub. I remember we were singing that together. So good memories for those songs, man.
Yeah. Oh, there's a booze and crack playlist. There's an official playlist that goes around.
I need to get my hands on that playlist.
Oh man, I could add you to a couple. I can send you a couple after this.
Please do. I would be more than happy to add them to it. I suspect my heritage is Ireland. I think Ruddle sounds like a kind of Irish name, so more than happy to include some of that in my playlist.
Could be Irish, Scottish.
Yeah,
that Celtic.
Yeah,
kind of region.
It's definitely somewhere in that part of the world, but where, I'm not quite sure. So you've been gigging away. You're still based in Wellington, is that right?
Still based in Wellington, yeah. Here for the last 6 years now.
One project I wanted to talk to you about is you did a series of shows with, I think her name is Miranda Camden.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely,
you had some kind of wager where you had to write 30 minutes of new stuff each, and then was there a punishment or something involved?
Well, so you're nearly there. The challenge was to write a page every day.
Yeah.
So, and it was just purely on the honesty system.
Yeah.
And we gave ourselves a date initially. I forget what the date was. And then for some reason we couldn't do the show, so we extended it out, and it just became who could write the most pages by the show date. And we didn't tell each other how much we wrote before the show, and whoever wrote fewer pages had to perform 30 minutes using suggestions from the audience in a jar or just winging it.
Yeah.
So Miranda won by 7 pages, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
I forget the score. We didn't know before the show, so we had the MC go on at the start and pull our numbers live to find out who got to go and who had to do the 30 minutes. And yeah, I think it was somewhere in the region of, I got 237 and Miranda got like 244.
Wow.
That's something in that region. It was a lot. We wrote a lot.
Yeah. I love that time. That's you know how a lot of comics will refer to themselves as like the hardest working person in comedy or whatever. I feel like you got a pretty good claim to that after that project.
It was really good. Like it was. So we each had an app. What helped an awful lot was we each had an app. Mine was just called Everyday. I think Miranda had a different one.
Mm-hmm.
And you put a habit into it, and every day you get to tick off the day if you've done the thing. So I had mine write 1 A4 page, and then I had a sub one along it to write a one-liner as well. So A4 page could be anything. Free write, just like absolute word dump, just start the hand moving, but once the page is full, it's full. Or sometimes it'd be like, I've had this idea, I'll try write a page on that specific idea. And then when I finished that, depending on how quickly I did it, I'd try write a setup and punchline one-liner.
Yeah.
And now, you know yourself from I'm sure from writing heaps, 99% of it was absolute trash.
Yeah.
Absolute trash.
Yeah.
But I figured by the way of the numbers, if 99% is trash, 1% is good. So out of those 200 pages, 230 pages, got 2 or 3 usable ones out of it.
Yeah. Well, I remember hearing it was Gary Delaney was talking on a podcast, and he, I forget what percentage it was. It was like it was a really low percent. It was like 10% or something that he keeps of his material that he writes versus how much makes it into the act. And he thought that was a really abysmally low percentage. But then he heard that Anthony Jeselnik also, he keeps 10%. You know, don't quote me on this percentage to the listeners, but whatever that percentage was, it was kind of the both of them found that they were keeping that much new material. And so he was like, well, if it's good enough for Jeselnik, then it's good enough for me. So, I mean, another 9% and you'll be sitting pretty there, man.
And I'm sure I'm being harsh on myself. So
Yes.
maybe, no, I got some good stuff out of it. Stuff I still use. That's and that's kind of made it a bit further now. Stuff that I kind of went back and had a look when I was looking to write a Fringe show. I went back and had a look through some of those pages, some ideas. Came back, you know. Like never throw anything away. I've still got all the notebooks.
Absolutely.
You know?
I have a segment in my OneNote that's called compost, which is that just is where stuff that didn't. All right, well, that didn't make it. We might look into that in another couple of years.
Yeah. Mine, I don't have a name for it, but I have a section where certain topics might go in there, or just, and I'll come back and I'll write that when I'm better. I'm not equipped to tackle that just now.
It's a very healthy mindset for stand-up, I think. I was going to say as well, you just mentioned Fringe Show, and I'm kind of springing this on you a little bit, and so if you don't want to talk about it, we can skip it. But you recently decided to pull a show that you were running for your sort of mental health. Do you want to talk about that at all, or would you rather not get into that? Oh,
no, I'm totally open book about that stuff, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So just I thought it was showing wisdom as a lot of comics I think might have pressed on when they weren't feeling well. But yeah, just tell us about what happened there. What are you feeling better now? What's kind of what's been going on?
Yeah, I'm much better now. Like much better now. In a nutshell, I burnt out, like completely burnt out, and I was burnt out for months before I even stopped. I put it at around, since I first started, like just feeling constantly tired, not sleeping right. I'd like disrupted. I'd be awake at 3 a.m. every single night, like without fail, 4 a.m. every single night, regardless of how tired I was.
Yeah.
But I just figured, it's just it'll pass. It's a phase. It's just we all go through patches of bad sleep. I was trying in the meantime, cutting out coffee or cutting out caffeine after like 11 a.m. and I tried
11 a.m.
like I was trying everything.
That's serious business.
Oh god, and I love coffee as well. Absolutely. Give me coffee, all day long. But tried all that, and my wife suggested like stuff like melatonin and things like that. Tried like meditating a little bit, no screens after, or trying to limit screens, tried reading, like all this kind of stuff. And I just kept going and getting tighter and tighter. And then around Christmas, I had an eye opener, because work, my day job is super intense as well. Like that just takes a lot mentally, just constant thinking all day. But then Christmas came around and we had a week in Fiji with a couple of friends, and just Ash, myself, a couple of mates, week in Fiji, doing nothing, no plans, any, bit of snorkeling. And during that whole week, all I could think about was, okay, I've got time now. I should be writing this Fringe show. I need to be doing this. I'll never have a better chance at the moment, because next week I go back, the work is back and I won't have time, and it's at the end of March, end of February. All this. So for that whole week, I was lying by the pool and taking it easy, not doing anything, just mooching around. But I didn't feel rested at all by the end of the week, because my head was just, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. Just completely stuck in a cycle like that. And we came back from that trip, had another week off for actual Christmas, New Year's, all that, and went back to work, to the day job, and like a week in, after this 2 week, week in Fiji and another week just chilling in Welly, should be rested. Nah, not at all. Like exactly the same as I was before Christmas. So then started, and in the meantime, I had started like getting counselling, things like that, going to the physical doc as well. And like 2 weeks into January, both of them pretty much agreed. They're like, okay, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea if you slowed down a little bit. And I would talk about comedy all the time to my counsellor, and she's well aware of it, and what it takes, and what it takes out of you mentally as well as physically.
Yeah.
And I was coming around to the realization myself, but just as I was about to say it, she was like, has anyone suggested maybe dropping the comedy for a little while? Just as I was about to say it myself, like, maybe I need to drop the comedy.
Yeah.
Because talking to friends, my wife, everybody, like, as soon as I told them all that I was going to take a break, cancel the Fringe show, cancel another few gigs I had booked in, they were all like, well, yeah, about time, finally, okay, good. So it was 5 weeks, 6 weeks before Fringe was due to kick off, and all the time in my head was like, just push through, you take a break after Fringe. It's only 5 more weeks, it's only 6 more weeks. But I was just thinking of it like this thing I had to do rather than this thing I want to do because I enjoy it. And at that time as well, coming up to gigs, like towards the end of the year, like October, November, December, going to gigs, I would have to come home from work, completely decompress from work, which was, as I said, was mentally exhausting in and of itself. And then come up into comedy mode and try be, fun, and let's get on form, and because the audience, if you're not having fun, they're not going to have fun. It's infectious, and you try to be a little bit enthusiastic, like at least look like you want to be there. Yeah. And that, just getting to that was hard, and I was getting a lot of really anxious, getting really anxious before gigs. Yeah. But even stuff I'd done 1,000 times before, like, pro shows and all that, even if it was a safe, reliable, good crowd, all that, still just getting all these nerves. And not the good ones that you get doing comedy. Everybody gets like the good ones. This was like, heavy, anxious feelings.
Yeah. Did you find that you started to sleep better once you took a little bit of a break from stand-up?
So it was a mix of a few things. Once I decided to cancel the show and all that, and I kept going to the counselling and kept going to that. And the medical doc then started to prescribe maybe she gave me like sleeping pills to try help through it, just for a week to see if they'd do anything. Yeah. And they didn't. And then she suggested I take a couple of weeks off work. So I took got leave from work for a couple of weeks, just to not do comedy and not be at the day job, not do anything and try recharge. And that helped a lot. That did help a lot. But during that time, then the doc prescribed a different kind of medication. And that I had those 2 weeks to try it out and figure out, because it's kind of take as you need stuff. It's not a regular cycle thing. So it was just to figure out what I needed and what worked and all that. And now I'm straight through the night. It's great.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, just taking that step back from comedy in the first place, but then getting a break from the day job, then coming back into it. And of course, being open the whole way, not trying to hide anything from anyone, talking to my manager, I would always be fully open about, this is why I need the leave. So that, they would know as well that I'm not just
trying to get a couple of weeks off sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, not even that, but just so that they know I might be finding it a bit tricky at the moment.
No, that's always good. Thanks for sharing, man. That's I'm glad you're doing better. I can relate to that not sleeping well thing. If I don't sort of very consciously do things to switch or kind of drift off or switch off my brain. I'll be up till 2-3 in the morning. And my last job, I didn't realize how badly I was sleeping until I left. And then I sort of thought, wow, I'm actually feeling rested in the mornings again. And I think I was sleeping the 8 hours, but the stress just made, I don't know whether you just can't get into that deep sleep that you need to kind of rest. But I don't even know how to articulate.
And this is something I found it so hard to explain for those, say, 9 months last year between kind of March and December. And when this was happening, it was just asleep at that stage. The anxiety from comedy and things like that hadn't kicked in yet. It was just asleep. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. No. Yeah, and it's so hard to explain. And I'd never be spiraling or anything like that when I woke up. I would just wake up wide awake.
Yeah.
And be like, and all I could think about was, oh God, why can't I get back to sleep? And that's it. There's no like, I'd say something if I was waking up and I was spiraling on something, or I was, having like kind of anxious or stressful thoughts or something like that, but nothing. I would just, all I could think about was, why can't I get back to sleep? Yeah. And it's just,
people that sleep well, it's like how you say, people that don't have back pain or something can't really, or I think toothache is another one that people get. It's like, unless you have it, you really don't know how annoying it is to not be sleeping well. And more often than not, the people that I meet, they can fall asleep and, stay asleep like that. But I think, I don't know. It seems rarer to meet insomniacs, but it is. It's one of those things where you're just like, you would think falling asleep would be the simplest, it's one of the three things we need to survive: food, water, and you need 8 hours of sleep every night. And somehow my body's like, nah, we don't need the third one.
Yeah. And it has such an effect on everything else as well. Like you're just tired walking around all day. Like you're like a zombie. I would find going to work, I would still turn on, which takes more energy than just to appear well rested naturally.
Yeah.
And that's probably, compounding on itself then why I'd crash so hard at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how hard I crash, I'd still wake up at 4 a.m. and it's so hard to come up with any rhyme or reason for it. When you don't have something obvious that you're like, I wake up and I think about money, or I wake up and I think about work, or I wake up and I think about this. But no, I just wake up and I think about why I can't get back to sleep, and then I'm knackered the rest of the day, and I'm just because that becomes its own frustration of like, why is this such a big issue, falling asleep? Like it's literally you don't have to do anything, you just need to lie. Like in theory you should just lie down and it would happen, but our brains sometimes are our worst enemies, aren't they? Oh, brutal. And then it rolls on. I don't have energy to go to the gym. I don't. And it's the brain is just like the wife and I often say, when let's say one of us is stressing about something, or just having a bad day, a bad head day, we call them. In this house, but it's just that why there's no reason for this. It's just like the brain just decided.
One thing that I think that comes with wisdom, and I sort of have only just realized kind of recently, and I don't know whether this is a societal thing or whatever, nature versus nurture, something like that, but when you're like, oh, it's actually okay if you're having a crappy day or you're not having a good day, and it almost feels like you're not allowed to have, you must be functioning at 100% or whatever. But then, like, it was David Correos and I went on this tour a couple of years ago, and it was so simple, but he said, like, let's just give each other, like, we'll check in with each other each morning and see what out of 10 are you. And then, the days where he was 2 out of 10 and I was 8 out of 10, it was like, don't worry, man, I'll look after us, I'll get us to where we need to go. And then, vice versa and that kind of thing. And it's a deceptively simple suggestion, but man, does it help, doesn't it?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's almost husband and wife behavior, but I have that with my partner.
Well, I mean, we were on the road for something like 20 dates together, so I mean, you spend a lot of time with someone, eh?
Oh, 100%. But like having that, it's such a simple thing.
Yes.
But it's so effective especially if you're both open to it and you both understand that. I can just like I say, I have that with my partner where we can just say to each other, I just need an hour. I just need to sit here and scroll on my phone for an hour or whatever. And we can just say that straight to each other, and then you'll start checking in like a couple hours later or something like that.
It's a very healthy system. I was going to connect something to that, but it's gone. It doesn't matter. So we were
great idea for the road, though.
Yes,
for sure.
And
I might steal that.
Absolutely do it. And I'm sort of. It's funny that just you pick up little tricks and stuff. Like another thing we learned was the importance of hydration on that tour. I discovered those little electrolyte packets, and sometimes they brought me back from what felt like the brink of death. And it was just like, I wasn't dying. I just needed to be hydrated. I think so. We were going to talk about Dark Souls, but I think let's just do more kind of personal stuff because I'm having a great time chatting to you about this. I was going to ask you about your meal prepping as well. You've got a really heroic meal prep system that I've been seeing on the apps. When and sort of why did you kind of get into this?
So it was again a team effort. My wife and I would have been January last year, 24 maybe, January 24, around the Christmas break. Then we had just come back from like a huge trip. We had been gone for like 4 months and traveling all over Southeast Asia, and we went back to Ireland and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But we came back and we were like, with this mentality of, I want to get healthier, in the gym. For the last 4 months, we've eaten whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
I see something I eat. So we're like, no, we're like, get back into some kind of regiment.
Yeah.
And we said, maybe we should try meal prep. We'll try it out, see, and at least then there's heaps of stuff and we don't have to cook during the week.
Yeah.
So tried it out, and then it was great the first week, great the second week, third week, and then it just became routine.
Yeah.
After that, so we started like on the gram finding all these other like if you look for meal prep recipes on the gram, you'll find.
Yeah. It's a great resource for that. Yeah.
And we just created a little collection for the two of us. Just started saving those in there and taking them down. And then we'd find as well, because not all meal preps are created equal. We found out as well. Some stuff is amazing if you can have it for in the 3 days, it'll stay in the fridge or something like that. Some stuff does not freeze and reheat great.
Yes.
So there are better things to freeze and reheat. And we've kind of just whittled those out, one we found that's not a great one was a beef stroganoff. Unbelievable. So tasty, fresh. And if you just keep it in the fridge, but if you put it in the freezer, take it out, it separates.
Yes, that, and you'd get probably like ice crystals forming on it, which would then melt into the sauce. Yeah, and I can see that being rough. I think you did you just post a completed one where you had some like burritos in your rotation?
Yes. So that was from just yesterday.
Yeah.
My wife has gone back to Ireland. She left on Saturday. She's gone back for like the most of a month. I was like, oh God, I'm on my own. I'm going to eat. I need to make sure I can eat. So I decided yesterday I'm just going to get it done. And I got about 33 meals done yesterday.
Wow.
So I'm not just saying that so I can say 33.
How long does that session of cooking to make 33 meals?
For me, it took about 3 hours, 3.5.
Yeah,
I would say, including wash up. So I have a 2-pan system and a slow cooker on the go. So I can be cooking 3 at once. So I would normally put one in the slow cooker Yesterday it was chicken Alfredo.
Yeah.
And that makes 8 portions right there. I have 2 pans going. On one pan I had lasagna, and on the other pan I had beef burrito filling.
Yeah.
And then all 3 of those at the same time.
Yeah.
And washing up as I go and all that kind of stuff. And then just did a mushroom risotto then at the end. Wrap all the burritos, box everything up, back in the freezer when it cools down. But the burritos you mentioned, they are the cornerstone of the meal prep.
Yes,
so
they are, aren't they?
They are phenomenal. So yesterday I made beef ones. We have these other chicken spicy, cheesy chicken burritos that we make.
Yeah.
And you can make 13 of them in one go, 13 meals worth in one go.
Oh my goodness. That's heroic.
And you can do it in the slow cooker. The beef ones I just made in the pan yesterday. And and they all reheat fantastic. These are all recipes we found that are reliable.
Yeah.
Probably got about, I think last time I looked, 45, 50 different recipes that we just loop through. But there's always burritos in the freezer.
Yes.
They are so good and so easy, and you can make so many of them. So they're the bedrock, and then we throw just kind of always burritos of one sort or another, but then we sprinkle in a bit of variety with
what an
else.
incredible invention, the burrito, right? Like it's I wonder if the guy or the person making it for the first time knew what they had created when they were coming up with that,
Oh my God. Yeah. It's one of my favorite foods. My favorite type of food is Mexican food.
Yeah.
And my favorite of that is the burrito.
Yeah.
It's
I think it was
the ultimate food delivery mechanism.
Yeah, that's what Parks and Recreation said, something about like a meat delivery system, and it's like it really is so efficient. Well, I just got this. I just got the Zoom 10-minute meetings, so I've got a few questions that are I just refer to them as good ask questions. They're kind of good for getting to know people, so I'll fire a bunch of them at you, and they're relatively quick fire, but feel free to elaborate. Does that sound good?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So this one I've been asking people lately is, if you were a soup, what kind of soup do you think you would be?
I was a soup.
Yeah, like if your characteristics, like I think I'm a bit of a potato soup. I'm very, I'm starchy, I'm comforting, good on a warm day, pretty basic, but classic. That kind of vibe. Like, so do you have any kind of soup that you feel you resonate with?
I'm gonna say like a minestrone or something.
Yeah,
it varies.
Nice.
There's a lot of variety in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I might not even know what all the things in a minestrone. You know what I mean? Like you could throw a lot of things at me and go, yeah, that sounds like it would go to minestrone.
Well, maybe I think I'm a minestrone and I'm really more like an oxtail or something like that. Or
Caribbean.
Just plain, simple, earthy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What tabs do you have open right now?
What tabs do? Oh, well, I'm on my work laptop, so there are a lot of work stuff. But on my phone, I've got a couple of articles open that I've been meaning to read.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what they are. Now these might be heavy as well.
Yeah.
So they're trigger warning for anybody. Some of these titles may be provocative. So this one's called "I Need to Make You Suffer: My near decade of violent harassment by a man I barely know," and that is on the spin-off.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yep.
You can probably tell why these have been open for a while. I feel like
you got to be in the right headspace to want to read that. Yeah.
These were sent to me by my wife. Works in online safety and digital. She works for the team who counteract all kinds of online harm and things like that. So awesome. she is, and both of us, I guess, are really interested in just hearing people's stories and experiences. Yeah. Related to, but she tells me it's a really good, thought-provoking article. So I'll save that to read for later. Yeah. Well, this one's a little lighter, I guess. This is more. So this one is called "The Child Free Are Ungovernable."
Oh.
Yeah. So subheading, why the capitalist ruling class wants you to have as many children as possible.
Yep. Don't they just?
Yes, and that one is Beneath the Pavement, that's called. So that's an interesting one for us because like my wife and I are child free. My fringe show is actually going to be called Dink.
You just reminded me that's what it was called, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, double income, no kids.
There
it was all about just life in your mid-30s, not having kids, and how awesome that is. But also, you do miss out on things.
Yeah.
And my whole point of the show was to show both sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I didn't want to be I didn't want to turn anyone off.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm just presenting this is what it's like. Versus. So on that note, it's just a decision my wife and I have made, and so she just sent me an article around that.
Yeah.
And the third one's been lost. It was on archive.org, but seems like I've been signed out or something. But I also have a tab for The Witcher 3.
Hell yeah.
As well. Yeah, apparently I am looking for some very specific loot.
Nice. Alrighty. Next question. Do you have a skill that people would be surprised to learn that you have? Like, for example, I can do the Rubik's Cube.
Oh, cool. So can I. Now, I'm rusty. I'm very rusty. But I can, given enough time, I'll remember how to do it. Yeah, I used to be a kind of under a minute. Or pretty quick,
my sort of peak time, it's really weird. My peak time was about 1 minute 10, and I picked it up the other day and thought, I'll have it. I think I was showing someone that I could do it, and it was about 1 minute 10. So I'm like a marathon runner. I haven't lost much since my peak time. Okay.
I'd say I'm 4 minutes. I'd imagine 4 or 5 minutes at this stage. But also play the drums. That's another.
Very good.
Yeah, again, rusty, but I do like to have a bash around.
More than I can do. So as far as I'm concerned, you're a drummer. One more question: if you could go back in time and eat any food, do you have a food that you think you'd like to try?
Oh, that's a good question.
To be fair, I stole it from Richard Herring.
That's a good question.
It's a great question. That's why I nicked it.
I could try any food.
Yeah.
Oh, back in time.
I suppose we could stay on brand, say the first burrito, but yeah, I'm sure you can think of something
first
better than
burrito.
that.
Well, see, I don't know if I'd want to try the first of anything.
That's true. Yeah,
they have to work out the kinks.
You want to let them, iterate it a little bit.
I at least want to try the second one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough. I would like to taste the apple from the alleged tree in Adam and Eve.
Oh, yes.
How good. It better have been the best Granny Smith sour as hell apple.
I'm a big fan of Sweet Tango, so yeah, I'd like to find that out myself, actually.
Sweet Tango. Oh, I'm a green as you get Granny Smith.
Nice.
I like them as bitter as possible.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so before the Zoom runs out, let's get some plugs in. So are you performing at the moment, stand-up, or are you still kind of chilling?
I am still on self-imposed hiatus.
You're like Napoleon in exile.
I'm like Napoleon. No, I'm still hanging around though. I'm still helping out with tech where I can at shows. I'm still buzzing around. I'm just not performing at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
So where can people find you when you make your prodigal return to the stage?
I just look out all over Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is Cutty Don't Run _ in between. Don't ask where I got it. I think I heard it in a movie one time. I don't know.
Nice.
And then just Richard Dowling on Facebook, and I generally post everything about comedy on those.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I'll be pushing it out there again. Plan is show is still there. It'll happen. Still have all the materials. I just changed the dates.
That's it, man.
So it will come back eventually. Dink will live.
It's like Cobra Kai. Dink never dies.
stink never dies.
Well, thanks for joining me, man. I always enjoy chatting to you, and I've been looking forward to this one for a while. We will have to, in a couple of months, get you to come back and we'll actually talk about Dark Souls. But you know what? I just couldn't resist, and I felt like that was a great many things to delve into there with you.
Yeah, anytime, man. Yeah, I'd love to talk some Dark Souls sometime.
Hell yeah.
Midway, I'm almost finished The Witcher 3 for the second time at the moment. Yeah, any open world RPG.
Fantastic.
100%. Yeah, but the Souls games are bread and butter.
Magnificent. All righty, well, thank you.
Absolutely, thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to Ruddle Me This. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. You can find me on social media at Taylor Ruddle Comedy on all the major platforms. You can also join patreon.com/Taylor Ruddle Comedy for free, which gets you access to all sorts of extras and behind the scenes content, as well as allows you to communicate directly with me and let me know what you think of the show. Tune in again next Monday for another episode of Ruddle Me This, and until then, Ruddle her out.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.
Hey Ruddlers, I joined a group of podcasters that we are calling the Trailer Alliance, a group of podcasters that share each other's trailers at the end of the episodes and generally support each other. So at the end of each episode for the next few weeks, I'm going to be playing a trailer of one of the members of the Trailer Alliance. And here's one of them now. I hope you like it.
Are you ready to turn up the heat on true crime? From blazing mysteries to scorched evidence, Crime to Burn is the podcast that dives into the world of criminal fires. Whether it's arson, cover-ups, or unsolved mysteries, we are lighting up the case files on every story.
With over 20 years of experience as a fire protection engineer, I'm here to help you understand the physics of fire and relate it to what investigators found.
Because if anybody can make true crime less terrifying, it's me.
Join us as we sift through the ashes to bring you the story behind criminal fires, including arson, bombings, and criminal negligence.
And I make sure you don't need therapy after. Tune in for a mix of expert insight, twisted tales, and a few laughs along the way. Crime to Burn, because sometimes the truth is hotter than fiction.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost? While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah! For game odds and details, visit sceducationlottery.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.